A few days ago, I was requested to break down Brandon Boston's basketball shooting form, so that's what we're going to be doing today. He is one of the best high school players currently right now and plays alongside LeBron James's son. So let's get down and let's break down Brandon Boston's basketball shooting form. Okay, so in this clip, what we have is Brandon Boston doing a quick step back. So what are we going to look at first? Well, I always like to look at the feet first. Before we go on any further, however, I would like to explain to everybody that there are a few things that I would fix about his shot. It is not me being a hater, it is me just trying to improve his shot. But going on from there, both of his feet are pointing straight towards the rim. This is absolutely fantastic, and they are shoulder width apart. This is going to give him a lot of balance, and it's going to keep consistency with his shot. This is very important when you're shooting the ball, and this is something that a lot of players should be doing. Now, when he goes down into his shot, of course, this is a step back, but he does, with regular set shots, brings his knees together slightly. This doesn't necessarily affect his shot at all. They are facing forward towards the rim, which is fantastic, but when you are bringing your knees together, that just basically tells everybody that the muscles on the outside of your legs, we have two sets of muscles. When it comes to legs, there's an inside muscle, outside muscle, inside muscle, outside muscle, and of course, that just shows that the outside muscles are a bit stronger. That's about all. But from there, we do see him not getting down very low into his shot, but he is up on his toes, which is going to give him faster acceleration up into his shot. From there, he does gather the ball in front of his hips, and this happens also with a lot of his set shots as well. And then he brings that ball up the middle of his body. When he gets into his set point, that's roughly about there in front of his forehead, he does not have his elbow underneath the ball, which generally means that that shot is going to go out, in this case, towards the left side. Usually, not always, but there are things that can be done to allow you to have a straighter, more consistent shot, which is having that elbow underneath that ball, bringing that ball out or that elbow in, one or the other. But from there, his shoulder is in line with his elbow, which is in line with the basket, which is going to give him a lot of consistency and accuracy with his shot. Now, one of the ways that you can have a straight shot when your elbow is out like this is by having a thumb flick. Now, there's a thumb flick like how Kyrie Irving and Steph Curry have, which allows that ball to give it a straight shot, which is what we do see here. However, they release the thumb flick earlier than Brandon Boston. As we can see here, he releases the thumb flick just a bit too late. Now, it does bring that ball up closer to in line with the elbow. And also, this is a very high release, which is good because it's harder for the defenders to block that shot. But there is something that needs to be done with this, and that is, I would definitely be looking at either bringing the elbow in or the ball out versus the thumb flick for Brandon Boston. And the reason why I say this is because the thumb flick releases so late. And of course, the ball does go off his middle finger, which is again going to give it a straight shot, and now everything is in line. But by releasing the thumb flick too late, what happens, watch that ball. That ball does not have that much rotation and actually has a slight side spin to it, where if it does hit the rim, it's going to hit the rim harder. By having a lot of backspin on that ball, what's going to happen is it's going to be able to hit that rim a lot softer, where if it does hit the rim, it'll bounce around a lot more, which will allow it to, of course, have a higher chance of bouncing in, like what we see with the Kawhi Leonard shot in the Raptors playoff game a couple of years ago. But of course, if he keeps on getting switches like this, it really doesn't matter. But we have to keep that in mind. Some of the things where, yes, a thumb flick is okay, but I would definitely, if he wants to keep with the thumb flick, I would be looking more like a Steph Curry shot that releases the thumb flick a little bit earlier so that he does get a little bit more backspin, not side spin. From there, we also look at the space between the palm and the ball. And of course, by getting a little bit more space between the palm and the ball, he might be able to get a little bit more rotation on that ball backwards. And then when we look at his hand, he has a soft flick. His fingers are bent at the end, which is supposed to give him more arc on the ball, and we do see that. And if he had a hard flick, it would give more rotation or backspin on that ball as well. But I really do like seeing that elbow above the eyes. The only thing I see problemsome with his shot is the backspin. There's very little backspin on it. Now, there's a lot of coaches who say shooting from in front of your head and bringing the ball up from your chest is gonna really affect your shot and your speed, which could be true. By bringing the ball out and the elbow not bending on the way up like we see here, we can see the elbow bend there. That is going to slow down his shot. It also adds in an extra hinge. And what I mean by this is you really want to have the least amount of movement on your shot. That means that there's less things that can go wrong with your shot. And of course, when we're talking about that, it's like a car. If you've got more and more technology in a car, there's more things that can go wrong. And when we look at the elbow, when he brings that ball up, we do notice that he's bending the elbow on the way up. Now, some players do that, but again, if he starts having a cold streak when it comes to shooting, this is just going to make it one more bit harder to bring back his shot when he's on a cold streak. Now, I hope that this video has helped you become a better shooter. If it has, hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys again next time.